Jim, obviously the season didn't go the way you would hope, at the start of the year. Just looking back on the course of the season, just what do you think went wrong?
Well, I've said this way too many times, but I think when we were 100% healthy, we were a very good basketball team. It's hard enough to be successful missing one of your key players, but it's almost impossible to be successful when you have a different guy injured almost every game and you can't develop the kind of chemistry and bond. That's the first thing. The injury impacted us in a huge way. Second, I thought our bench players were very inexperienced, younger guys that hadn't really been through the wars and weren't able to help us overcome those injuries. Had the bench been a little bit more mature, a little older guys, like last year's Final Four team where we had Anthony Walker and Harlan Beverly and even Bensley Joseph were experienced players, had been in the battles before, then maybe you can make up for a key starter being out. But when you look at the injuries to Nigel Pack and then to Wooga Poplar, and then Norshad misses a game, and then Matt Cleveland misses several games, and then Keyshawn misses a game. When there's no continuity in practice and preparation, you lose a lot of close games, and we did.
Jim, I guess maybe it's a product of what you're saying, but it seemed like this team didn't have the spirit, the leadership, the energy that your teams have had in the past. Is that just a product of them, some being injured and not being able to practice together, or is it a product of the personalities that were on this team?
Well, I think it's always both. I mean, you're only going to be as good as your leaders can provide, but the leaders also have to have guys who are willing to follow. One of the reasons we've enjoyed so much success in the last couple of years, getting to the Elite Eight and getting to the Final Four, is we stayed healthy the whole time. Probably the biggest, maybe the most important decision that was made by a former Miami player was Sam Wardenberg's decision to stay. And I don't know if you know Sam's situation, but in what would have been his last year here, he broke a foot. Well, everything changed the day he broke that foot. He's a starter. We didn't have someone exactly like him. We had to start making adjustments. And then all of a sudden, Chris Like sprains an ankle and gets hurt. Cam McGusty pulls a hamstring. And all of a sudden, that team implodes. Why? Well, there's not enough leadership there to guide us in the right direction through all these minefields. When Sam Wardenberg came into my office and I asked him about even the possibility of returning for his sixth year, I remember quite well him saying to me, I'm not leaving here with the program being in bad shape. When I got here, we were really good, get to the NCAA tournament with terrific players. I want us to get back to that. And I'm committed to coming back next year and helping that happen. So when you have a leader like that, who not only comes back, but says why he's coming back, and then he gets the other players, the transfers like Charlie Moore and Jordan Miller, to buy into his vision of what the team could be. And then the younger guys, the Wooga Poplars and the Bensley Joseph kind of follow the system. And then you got a great player like Isaiah Wong is so excited to have a Charlie Moore next to him and a Jordan Miller next to him, because they're smart, they're good basketball players, and they sense the confidence that they have as a group. And then the younger guys kind of just follow suit. When Sam graduated and Charlie graduated, who was going to fill that void? Well, the guys who filled that void were Nigel Pack. He came in and took Charlie's place. Norshad Omier, he took Sam's place. But the key was we had Isaiah and Jordan back, letting them know, hey, we're really good. And we're going to be really good, and we've got to keep our focus and keep healthy. And what? We were healthy for the most part. The games we lost to Florida State at home. Who didn't play? Nigel Pack.
Yeah.
All right? We lost to Duke in the tournament. Who didn't play?
North Jersey.
No, so when you lose a key player, it's just very difficult. We're not so deep that we can sustain an injury to one of our very top guys and expect to be just as good. This year, we started out fine. We went to France, we did some good bonding, we had some good chemistry, and we started out, and we were great in December. We had some bad halves, not terrible games. We lost at Kentucky, very, very hard place to win it. We lost in New York to a Colorado team. But we also beat Notre Dame, we also beat Clemson, who's in the NCAA tournament, and we had our times. We beat Pitt, who finished 4th in the league. So, and we played the #1 seed, not just in our ACC tournament, but their #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, North Carolina. We played them to the last possession. But not having that combined leadership of everybody staying healthy and working towards it at the end of close games, we just weren't as good. The year before, we were great at the end of close games. And in Sam Wardenberg's year, we were down 10 against Syracuse with a minute to go and won the game. Right? We were down 18 against Syracuse here, came back and won the game. The game of basketball really is about a team of players really devoted to winning and having great synergy where they bring out the best in each other. And it was very, very hard for our players to do that this year.
Did you feel like, because you recruited all these players and these guys who are on the bench who are not contributing enough, do you feel like you misjudged some of the players in the recruiting? Is it hard because of everything that's going on with college basketball now, high school basketball? Is it harder to really know a kid the way you used to know a kid?
No, not in the case of those players that you're referring to. Here's what I would say. When you recruit a young man, you have a picture of what he's going to be able to do during the course of his career. The problem exists is if it's not immediate satisfaction, if they don't play immediately, then all of a sudden they get discouraged very, very quickly. And then their mind is not on getting better, it's on where am I transferring to? And so you have a battle. Am I really working to improve? Or am I really thinking about leaving? Because commitment means both feet in, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And would those same players who are going to enter the portal, would they be better next year? Well, it's been my experience with coaching guys like Isaiah Wong. Right? How good he was as a freshman, he was okay. Sophomore, a little bit better, but junior and senior year, he was great. Right? So could these guys have, if they stay and play next year and the year after, could they fall into that category? Yeah, sure. But I can't make those decisions for them. Because there's so many voices in their ear with opinions. Now you have, like you've always had to have parents who have their opinion, but you have agents who have their opinion, you have AAU coaches, you have high school coaches, you have their friends, you have their roommates, you have guys they play with high school ball that went to other schools and found success and they compare themselves to them.
Social media,
oh my God. So you have so many factors that determine a kid's mindset. And it's like a very popular thing to do to put your name in the transfer portal. There are approximately 4,000 or a little bit more Division I players. There's going to be 2,000 in the portal. That means half the players in college basketball are looking for a new destination. Does that make any sense to anybody? It doesn't to me. Because in my mind, a lot of those players that put their name in are actually saying, I'm giving up on myself. I have to go someplace else because I can't prove myself here. And to a certain degree, that could be true. But on a lot of cases, those kids, as you get older, you get better. My coaches and I talk about it all the time. How many guys have transferred out of here and enjoyed greater success? Either their team won more or they became the star of the team like they envisioned when they left. So you can look at the 4 that transferred last year and tell me what you think.
So Jim,
Coach.
how different do you have to recruit, or do you feel you have to recruit different in this day and age?
Well, if you're looking at the whole recruiting landscape, you have 2 different categories. You got your fall recruiting for high school kids, which I think we've enjoyed a lot of success. I think our recruiting class is ranked 11th in the country. We have 3, what I would consider top players. Jalil Bethea, McDonald's All-American, Austin Schwartz, who's a top 50 high school recruit, and Isaiah Johnson-Arrigo, who's got a very good chance of being Player of the Year in Minnesota. So we've done that part. Now we've got to focus on what we call spring recruiting, which is mostly the portal, although there might be some high school players that have slipped under the radar. Like last year, we picked up Paul Jobay. We didn't sign him until June. But right now, we're going to be focused on the transfer portal. As we have players enter their names, we're going to be following other college Division I players who have put their name in. And then during this next month, try to sign for our needs. So we need a guard, we got to try to sign a guard. If we need bigs, which we obviously do, we just don't have very many big guys. It's been one of the things we were able to overcome for 2 years in a row by staying healthy. And then this year, with all the injuries, we just weren't.
But do you
Coach,
look to more in the development because you know about the portal? I mean, and it's a catch-22 because guys don't look to develop; they look like to jump, like you said, to jump right away. So do you?
Well, I think
do
you have
get
to
a guy
do
who
both.
might be, not as NBA ready?
Okay, so, I don't know if I think I can talk about this, I'm not really sure. Let's use one of our players for an example. Let's say he decides to put his name into the NBA draft.
Right.
Okay? Norshad Omier and Nigel Pack did that last year. Right. So did Isaiah Wong. All 3 players could have returned. So should we have signed somebody, or should we have kept our fingers crossed that they were all going to come back? Well, you kind of do both. You kind of keep your eye on their progress and say, oh, boy, it looks like Nigel may come back, it looks like Norshad may come back, and it looks like Isaiah's gone. All right? So you kind of have to keep your eye looking towards the present and then looking forward towards the future. All right? So in the present, like right now, we're going to have several players putting their name in the NBA draft. Well, will they pull their name out in a month? I don't know. My guess is no, they won't. Why? Because every player on our team, when asked, do you want to play in the NBA, every hand goes up. So if they have a shot, okay, you're not going to be a first-round pick or a second-round pick, but you could be a free agent. Okay, I want to be a free agent, but you have to go through the G League. That's fine. I want to be a pro. So every young man and his family, his agent, they have to make those decisions. And I'm not a part of that decision making. I can provide information. I can ask the NBA, the Underclass Advisory Committee, to give us feedback as to where our players stand in the process. But eventually that information is just information. The kid can still keep his name in or take it out.
Jim,
Coach, do you have a...
Say it
Do you
again.
like that challenge, this part of the coaching?
I think for me, I'm a coach. I want to do what's best for the University of Miami men's basketball program, and that'll always be my goal.
Jim, have
Coach,
you
you
been
signed an
told?
extension last year, but, a lot of the
Am
coaches...
I getting one this year?
I don't know, do you have an
Is that
exclusive
what
right
you're
now?
saying? Are you suggesting? I don't know. Talk to Matt.
But a lot of the coaches that have left the game, that have been in the game for such a long time, have been open about how hard it is now to keep players, to be recruiting basically instead of what it would be a whole season or keeping these players for 2 years because of NIL deals. Has that ever crossed your mind that how hard it's getting because of also that aspect in college sports, especially?
Well, it's getting impossible. It's not. I think a lot of the coaches that you're referring to have realized coaching is not as much fun. Normally, you bring a player in as a freshman. He plays a little, but he's not ready to really compete at the highest level. His sophomore year, he progresses. Then junior and senior year, he's like an all-conference player. Isaiah Wong's a perfect example. Right? But now that's no longer the system. The system is I go someplace as a freshman, and if I don't have immediate satisfaction, I go someplace else. So if you're working with a player, let's say he's a freshman and you're working with him a lot to try to develop him, he's not quite the player you need to really be successful, but he's got the potential to do that in a year. So you spend a lot of time with him, and at the end of the year, he tells you, okay, well, thanks, but I'm going to put my name in the portal and transfer and go someplace else. That's very disappointing, very frustrating. And it's why I think a lot of my friends in coaching have just said, there's no sense in doing this anymore because they've taken the joy out of it.
So what keeps you going then? Because saying all that, what joy are you getting?
If any of you have met my wife, you know I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And the players are going to keep doing what they're doing. I don't have control over that. It's not like, hey, you call a play and all of a sudden the players just execute the play. No, you call the play and then it is up to the players to execute. If they don't execute, nothing I can do about that. Well, practice it, get them to do it right. Yeah, well, that's what we're doing. But if they don't do it correctly, that's on them. And that's why the game comes down. It doesn't come down to your preseason polls. 3 years ago, we were picked 12th and finished in the Elite Eight. Last year, we picked 4th in the preseason poll and finished in the Final Four. This year, we picked top 10 in the country and 2nd in the ACC and finished 14th in the league. I mean, there's no predicting accurately because you just don't know who's going to be healthy. You don't know how your chemistry is going to develop. I love coaching. I love being around the players. I love practice. Practice is my favorite time of the day. So I'm going to keep doing it until practice is no longer my favorite time of the day.
Do you think that the Final Four, you alluded to it earlier this season, that you feel like the players, or at least some of them, just kind of thought like, we're a Final Four team, that means we're going to make the tournament and have another run.
I do think our players assume that. I think they took winning for granted. And I think if you look at the other three teams that were in the Final Four, Connecticut's a 1 seed, San Diego State's a 5 seed, and FAU is an 8 seed. We belong in there. But the issue we've had, and as I explained over and over again, is things I can't control. When a kid sprains his ankle, he sprains an ankle. How long it takes him to recover from that, I have no control over it.
I just want to know if any players have told you they will be back. Any of your current guys have said, I know you...
No. No, I don't know who's back. I'm meeting with, I met with, all the guys I met with last week are gone. The guys I'll meet with today, I'm hoping, most of them will return, and I'm meeting with someone tomorrow and on Wednesday. So maybe by Friday, I'll have a much better feel for who's returning and who's not.
How many guys said they're going already that you met with last week, and what's the number?
5.
Are you going to tell us who those 5 guys are? I know.
They put their name in the portal or they put their name in the draft. That's how you know.
Coach,
It's not, okay, it's not my position to tell you. It's their lives, their journey. So let them. Who's put their name in the portal so far?
AJ and Chris.
So there's 2 guys, you know. I don't have to tell you their name. All right, and anybody else that puts the name in the portal, we'll let you guys know. Do you follow the portal?
I mean, yeah. You have a login for us?
You see? Did you see how many kids are in the portal? Today's the first day.
152 when you started the meeting.
So there'll be 200 today, the first day, 200.
Coach, honestly, kind of looking towards next season, at least on the bright side, you mentioned the recruiting class, a guy like Jaleel Bethea, a star, people have seen him rise up the rankings. Well, I know rankings are a thing you love to pay attention to. It's really what you see on the court. What kind of stands out to him as well? You look to, this new roster that you're building around and hoping to have him as the centerpiece of it.
Basketball is about building a team.
Yeah.
And a team is about having players with complementary skills. So you need guards who can handle the ball, you need guys who can shoot the three, you need everyone to be able to defend, you need big guys who can play with their back to the basket. Some big guys can stretch the floor and shoot threes as well, like a Quentin Post or PJ Hall, guys like that. So we keep our eye out, and we'll keep our eye on the portal, trying to find the right complementary players to our guys. And hopefully, if a half a dozen of our guys return, we only had 11 scholarship players. So you look at that, and we've already lost half of them.
Oh my gosh.
You know, this is a crazy business now.
One more?
Coaches, I mean, obviously, a lot's dependent on who stays and who leaves, but are there any positions or any traits that you and your staff are, I guess, identifying in the portal, or is that?
Well, here's what I would tell you. We need size. You know, if you know any big guys that are interested in Miami, let me know.